Welcome back, everybody. Out on the field today. A little bit windy, so if that's interfering with the camera, I apologize, but try and get kind of behind what's left of this tree here, see if we can get some shelter from it anyhow. So yeah, Senior's over there. He's working on some food plot stuff and kind of, you know, rehabbing where I had the old burn pile in years past and stuff. But you can see I've cut quite a bit away from my big shade tree here on the edge of the work area. Of course, that's where we've been building up right there for the last 3 years, and I've left this old tree here. It's a gigantic basswood clump because, oh my gosh, I've taken so many breaks in its shade over the years, and the trouble is to clear way for access to the front of the building, it's gonna have to go, and I take no pleasure at all in getting rid of this tree. I am really gonna miss it, but this should be the last tree I'm gonna have to remove out here. And yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good sized stump when we get all done. And yeah, there's rocks once again, they never seem to end. I got some more flat ones here. Might be able to do something structural with those yet, but sorry about that wind again. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty good sized stump. You can see by, you know, the size of my foot, that's probably gonna be at least as wide as the Cat D2 blade once I get it rolled out. And I've dug out all around it. We chopped a bunch of the branches off that were kind of, you know, making it such a bush before, and cable's hooked up. I'm hooked onto these two here. We're going to utilize the wind that's kind of blowing that way. We're going to try and roll it out that way. So hopefully as the cable bunches those two, they're going to stack onto the other two, and all four trunks are going to take that root ball out, and we're not going to have anything snap off and give us trouble. So these basswoods are usually some pretty shallow rooted trees, and they tip out pretty easy. It's still going to be a heavy stump, but let's put the cat on it and see if we can get it down, huh? Okay, had a little bit of excitement here. A little bit shaky yet. So yeah, the D2's been parked out here probably for 6 weeks. I haven't had it started, I think, in at least a month, and just had a little bit of a fire under the hood. So still got my stick here. It's gonna be hard to see, but up in here on top of the starting engine, something had built a nest. And of course that exhaust pipe gets pretty hot when you're cranking the diesel. I noticed a little bit of smoke rolling out while I was cranking, so I came around and looked at it. I figured I'll just see if the engine will start. Diesel started off, and then as soon as I started shutting the pony down, there was actually a little bit of fire under there. So I got a stick and was able to rake it out, but that's the trouble with parking these things outside for a long period of time. You know, things will decide to make a home, so it's all right. We saved the cat. Nothing's on fire anymore, so maybe we'll get some work done today after all.
I don't know. I think that D2 is going to have a little problem here.
It's big. Okay, so I took the backhoe and I got in on the backside of this root ball, and I just clawed as much dirt out of it as I could, just trying to lighten the thing up. And this is kind of funny. I've picked a lot of rocks out here. This one right here, it's kind of a big one. Came out of that pocket right there. That's the first time I've ever, you know, picked a rock like that out from a root ball, but we got a little bit of dirt out of it. So next thing I need to do, as long as we're kind of out of the hole, I'm gonna take the cable off and then hook it differently. Probably hook it onto these two trunks on the bottom, and then run it to the back side of the two on top over this way, get the D2 over here. And what I'm going to try to do is roll this at least get it one revolution out of the hole. Might make it a little bit easier to push out or even pull out after that. So I'll just climb up here to where the cable is. It's still a little tensioned a little bit, but just keep pulling slack until we can get it. Okay, there we are. We're free now. Nothing's loaded. Boy, you could just about keep climbing this thing all the way up. We're a ways off the ground already. We're having fun, right? So just got to watch for trunks to spring when you're in between them like this, so we should be pretty good the way we are right now. So start that pin again so I don't lose it. There we go.
Well, here we go. We're going to see if we can do a roll on this thing. We did trim some branches to keep us from, hopefully, there we go. Ah, perfect. Rolling it right out of that hole. Check that out. I like it.
Okay, so that first roll went pretty well, and I decided I want to try another one, because even if I got the cat behind it right here to try and start pushing that root ball after I cut the trunks off of it, the cat's still going to be down in the hole and we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. So I want to see if we can get one more roll on it so I can get the cat behind it on solid ground. So I just finished going down this side, trimming a lot of the branches that were hanging over that way, because anything that hangs out is going to put a bind on us, you know, resisting the rolling of these 4 trunks. So we're hooked again like we were before. So we have the shackle on the cable cinching tight around these 2 trunks on the base, and then the main pull cable goes around these 2 on the uphill side, so that's going to want to twist and roll this whole thing out. So we're hooked up. Let's try another roll. That kind of looks like a stump that Rick Bork cut down. Anyway, so you're probably wondering why we did that, left that one trunk so long. Well, it's easier to show you down here. What I did was, first I cut a bevel on it, and then we came down and cut it off. And that bevel is so, when I hook onto that thing, we're going to try and pull it first with the cat. That leading edge is going to have like a 45-degree taper, and it's not going to want to bite into the ground and dig in so bad. It's going to want to help it kind of right across. So that's the reason for that. wanted to change camera angles so bad, but once you got this thing moving, you just didn't want to stop. That helped with you pushing though.
Oh, should I lit up?
Yeah, it wouldn't have made it without the Kubota pushing too.
I had to put it in 4-wheel.
Well, that is a big stump, but the D2 did it just barely. If this wouldn't have been a basswood, which is a softwood, it's a lighter stump, if that would have been like an oak, the D2 never would have pushed this. But yeah, as soon as it tipped over and that trunk end sputted into the ground, I knew we were in trouble. So I went ahead and cut it off and then was just able to kind of spin it and walk it down in place. But you look on the back, we brought it tight up against the rest of them that were here. We couldn't get it any further. And camera's at eye level on me right now, so if I reach up, we're not even to the top of it yet. Look at that. We're still picking rocks. Look at that. Yeah. All right, well, put him where he'll be useful. Right there. So yeah, that's all the D2 can handle right there. That was probably a little much for it, but yeah, we got it down here, so that's what counts. Back up here, up top, quite a bit of the tree left to take care of, and I'm already missing that thing's shade, especially this time of night. But sun's getting low in the sky. We'll clean the rest of that up tomorrow. And you can see we dug a pretty good trench all the way down to the hollow where we pulled that thing. I got it most of the way put back with the Kubota, but yeah, we need to offload the cat, put the truck and trailer away, so let's go home. All right, so we just finished raking up the last of the debris. It is the following evening. You can see the sun's just about gone again, but I had enough time to get out here, get the rest of the tree cleaned up. So, like I said, I'm sad to see this one go. I don't take a lot of pleasure in ripping out trees, and I know that's pretty much all you guys have seen me do the last couple of years out here, because, you know, I'm trying to make a spot for a building out here, you know, machine shed, like I said before. And, you know, the comment section, most people don't have a problem with it. You all understand. A couple people have called me some bad things for taking trees down. That's all right. A couple people are going to call me a tree hugger for what I'm about to say. That's all right. You know, doesn't bother me a bit. But yeah, I am sad to see that one go, because that tree has been like my one good source of shade from like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on out here for the last few years. And every time the sun would track back that way, it would always cast a really nice shadow all the way across the work area out here. You get close to sundown and it went all the way over to that other tree line. So, and a lot of times during the day, this summer especially, because it's been so hot this year, I took a lot of breaks in its shade and would just gonna have like something to sit on, like most times just a bucket, the one I pick rocks with, and it was always a good spot to sit and just kind of cool down, get a drink, and get ready to go back to work again. And it's kind of funny too, you can look back in the videos I've done from the field work this year, and it was kind of like a sundial. At any given point in time, I usually had one or both of the tractors parked on a different side of it in the shade as the sun tracked across the sky, and the shade would kind of creep across the area over here. So I didn't want to have to see it go, but in order to, well, we'll stand here. This is going to be the front of the building, and the main door is going to be about right here. And you can see if you went straight out, that big hump that it was on was blocking like a third of the approach, and that's not as far away as it looks on the GoPro here. So, you know, it distorts the distance a little bit. So I still had a hump here anyway that was messing me up for drainage, because I want to be able to finish the approach to the building, do a gentle slope off to the field edge. And basswoods being such a shallow rooted tree, I'd already stressed it the last 2 years from the ground disturbance that I had done around its base already. You know, its leaves that always turn yellow sooner than the others. They'd always fall sooner than the others, and there's no way I could have left it in place and even got rid of the rest of this high spot without just killing the poor thing off. So the best thing to do was get it right out of the way. And yeah, I miss it already, but it's one of those things where, you know, new beginnings. So come over here and show you guys something real quick. You know, I spend a lot of time out here working by myself. Gives you time to think about things. And you know, I'm a little bit crazy anyway. Well, maybe a little bit not right is probably a better term, but you know, we got these two little guys right here. I've had them in these pots all summer, and I know this is just kind of a token gesture, but they came off of the sand knob over there when I first started ripping the brush out of there earlier this spring, and before I took any of the trees out. I don't even know how those little guys took root over there, but you know, I decided we'll just take a chance, see if we can save them. So they've been in the pots ever since. I've kept them watered all summer. You can see they're putting on leader buds. There's new growth on each one, and when it gets colder outside, I'm going to transplant those into a couple of the open spots in my tree rows over by the road over there. And you get, like, when they get like below 40 degrees, they pretty much go dormant anyway. That's when they transplant the best with the least amount of stress. So, but yeah, it's kind of the conservation side of things, and you know, seeing the picture in my mind's eye. I know you guys aren't privy to that, but I would like to have at least 2 maples kind of out in front here, because maples, you know, when the leaves turn in the fall, they're such brightly colored. You know, there's some good looking trees. I prefer hardwoods, things like that. I always try and save oaks whenever I can. You know, there is a conservation side to a lot of the things I do out here, but with all the land clearing that's gone on, trying to turn probably what was the worst spot on my 50 acres into a buildable place that has good drainage, that has a good sublayer, that has good material. It's been a lot of work, and I had to clear away a lot of stuff. So the bright side of it is any other building spot that I have pegged on this whole property is already open field. So once I get this spot right here done, which we're pretty close to it right now, I'm really not going to take anything else out, and we're going to probably start more of a replanting program and kind of put things kind of more where I want them. But yeah, like I said, I spend a lot of time out here working, and I got to thinking about this story called The Giving Tree from when I was a kid. It was in a book. And looking back on it now, it's one of those stories where it's like, I'm not even sure how it became a children's story because it's so messed up. But in a nutshell, bear with me, guys. So there's this kid, makes friends with this tree, climbs in its branches, eats its apples, this and that. Kid grows up after a time and comes to the tree and says, I want money. Tree's like, I don't have money, but you can take my apples, sell them in town, and have money. Kid does it. He's happy. The tree is happy. Kid comes back a while later. He's a young man, says, I want to start a family, but I don't have a house. Tree says, I can't give you a house, but you can take my branches and build a house from them. He takes the tree's branches, hauls them off, builds his house. He comes back a while later as an old man. Says, the kids have all left, and I'm not happy. I want to get far away from here, but I don't have a boat. Tree says, I can't give you a boat, but you can cut down my trunk, use the wood to build a boat. So he does. Years and years more go by. He comes back as a very old man near the end of his life and comes back to the tree and says, well, I'm back, and in all my worldly travels, I still have not found happiness. And the tree says, I really can't help you. I've got nothing left to give. All I am is a stump, but a stump is good for sitting. And well, the old man says, that's all right. It sounds good. I could use a rest. So he sits on the stump, and the tree was happy again. So after some, well, rather deep reflection, I've come to the conclusion that I'm no better than that jerk kid. Right? So, but you know, like I said, we're not just about destroying out here. It is about building too, and reestablishing and replanting. And you know, once we get the building up, you guys will see a lot of that stuff happen, and it'll be a very, very different scene from taking all these trees out and ripping stumps down. And you know, there is a purpose behind it. So all right, I think that kind of went off the rails a little bit. It's about dark, so I'm gonna dump the rest of that load of stuff off. Got a few logs to haul off. We'll probably do that tomorrow and continue on, finish out the approach to the front here, finish leveling the pad, and I think we're about done. So we're right on track, everybody. Just got to keep our foot on the gas and not lose focus. So winter is coming. Thanks for watching.